Legends from the dawn of civilization speak of colossal beings who once walked the earth. In ancient Sumer, the earliest known society, texts describe the Anunnaki, powerful gods who descended from the heavens to shape human destiny. These entities, often interpreted as visitors from another world, are said to have engineered mankind, perhaps altering our very DNA and employing us in labor for their grand designs. Clay tablets from over 6,000 years ago recount extraordinary tales, divine interventions, catastrophic floods, and the creation of humanity itself. Could these accounts be evidence of extraterrestrial contact in prehistory? Many researchers suggest our ancestors received advanced knowledge from above, technology and wisdom far beyond their era. But much of this forbidden history vanished in a single chaotic moment. On April 10, 2003, as U.S. forces advanced into Baghdad during the Iraq War, the National Museum of Iraq fell into anarchy. Just weeks into the conflict, looters overwhelmed the site. While some were opportunistic thieves smashing displays, others operated with precision, using walkie-talkies to target specific artifacts, priceless Sumerian tablets, seals, and instruments chronicling the Anunnaki myths and the origins of civilization. Thousands of irreplaceable items disappeared, including records from the cradle of humanity in Mesopotamia, the fertile land between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Sumer, dating back to around 4500 to 1900 BC, was the world's first urban civilization, home to the earliest writing system, cuneiform. Was this mere wartime chaos or a calculated effort to erase evidence of ancient visitors? With these tablets gone, key pieces of the Anunnaki puzzle remain hidden. What truths about our past were deliberately silenced? Mesopotamia, the fertile cradle between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, witnessed the rise and evolution of humanity's earliest urban societies. Sumer, flourishing from approximately 4500 to 1900 BC in southern Iraq, laid the foundations. It was succeeded by the Akkadian Empire under Sargon the Great, circa 2334 to 2279 BC, followed by the Babylonian and Assyrian powers. Despite shifts in language and rulership, Sumerian cultural achievements profoundly influenced all subsequent Mesopotamian civilizations. As one of the world's oldest known societies, emerging in the 4th and 3rd millennia BC, Sumer pioneered cuneiform, writing, wedge-shaped impressions pressed into clay tablets, later baked for permanence. This revolutionary script recorded everything from administrative records to epic myths. Deciphering cuneiform remained elusive until the mid-19th century. In March 1843, French explorer Paul-Émile Botta unearthed the Assyrian palace at Khorsabad in northern Iraq, revealing vast chambers adorned with statues of deities and monarchs, alongside wall inscriptions providing the first tangible proof of these ancient empires. A decade later, excavations at Ur, the legendary Sumerian capital and biblical birthplace of Abraham, uncovered the majestic ziggurat, a stepped pyramid serving as the city's religious and administrative heart. Royal tombs yielded exquisite gold artifacts and countless cuneiform tablets, transforming mythological tales into verified history. Sumer's contributions are staggering. Over 100 foundational innovations, including agriculture, engineering, medicine, mathematics, organized government, legal systems, courts, and formal education, emerged here more than 6,000 years ago during what was ostensibly the Stone Age. Archaeologists suggest fell to invasion and plunder by neighboring powers. Yet the surviving tablets reveal more than daily life. They describe the Anunnaki, divine beings depicted as descendants of a sky god who arrived on Earth. The Sumerians portrayed them as architects of human civilization, perhaps guiding or even creating mankind. Were these accounts mere mythology or veiled records of advanced visitors from the cosmos? The persistence of such narratives across millennia raises profound questions about our origins. The religious landscape of ancient Mesopotamia was richly polytheistic, with devotees honoring hundreds of deities of both genders. These gods were typically anthropomorphized, depicted with human traits, emotions, and flaws, mirroring the hierarchical structure of Mesopotamian society itself. At the apex stood supreme celestial beings, while lesser divinities inhabited the earth or the underworld, forming a cosmic bureaucracy akin to earthly kingship. Central to Sumerian theology were the Anunnaki, the most enigmatic and authoritative figures in the pantheon. Described in cuneiform records as the highest celestial deities, they were portrayed as ethereal yet capable of assuming physical human form. According to the texts, the Anunnaki descended to Earth with dual objectives, imparting advanced wisdom to humanity while mining precious resources from its crust. These tablets provide vivid accounts of their long lifespans, spanning centuries, and extraordinary mastery over sciences, arts, and natural forces. The depth of their knowledge raises profound questions. What was the source of such unparalleled expertise, and from whence did they originate? Archaeologists remain puzzled, but proponents of ancient extraterrestrial theories propose a radical interpretation: the Anunnaki as visitors from beyond Earth. Could these gods from the sky represent extraterrestrial intervention in human affairs, engineering our species for labor, as suggested in creation myths? This notion gained traction with 19th-century discoveries. In 1849, excavations at Nineveh, the biblical Assyrian capital in modern Iraq, unearthed the palace of King Sennacherib. Among the finds was a remarkable library of clay tablets preserving the Enuma Elish, the Babylonian creation epic, inscribed across 7 tablets, likely composed around the 12th century BC, but rooted in far older oral traditions. The narrative describes a primordial conflict among gods, culminating in the victor slaying the goddess Kingu, or a related deity, mixing her blood with earth clay, and molding the first humans, beings designed to serve the divine assembly. From polytheistic reverence to tales of genetic creation, Mesopotamian lore challenges conventional history. Were the Anunnaki advanced extraterrestrials or symbolic archetypes? The silent ledger of cuneiform invites ongoing speculation. Ancient Mesopotamian tablets offer a strikingly detailed account of human origins, one that parallels yet expands upon the biblical narrative of Adam's creation. While the Bible presents a concise version, Sumerian sources describe a deliberate process. The Anunnaki, interpreted by some as those who from heaven to earth came, decided to engineer a labor force to relieve their burdens. In these cuneiform records, the Anunnaki, portrayed as physical, flesh and blood entities capable of interstellar travel in massive vessels, experimented with genetics. They extracted genetic material from a female entity, combined it with earthly elements, and, after repeated trials, successfully modified primitive hominids to produce intelligent beings. This narrative suggests advanced knowledge of DNA manipulation, transforming early humans from basic creatures into reasoning individuals. Proponents of ancient astronaut theories argue this was no mere allegory, but evidence of extraterrestrial intervention. The sudden emergence of sophisticated civilization in Mesopotamia, seemingly from nowhere, as preserved in the Nineveh Library, discovered in the 19th century, supports the idea of external guidance. The Enuma Elish and related epics depict these gods as visitors from another world, wielding expertise in biology far beyond prehistoric capabilities. Further intrigue arises from the Sumerian king list, compiled around 2100 BC, which catalogues over 140 rulers with impossibly long reigns, some exceeding 36,000 years. Comparable biblical figures such as Methuselah, 969 years, and Noah, 950 years, echo this longevity. Skeptics dismiss it as myth, but alternative interpretations propose these kings were Anunnaki or their hybrid descendants, inheriting extended lifespans from advanced genetics suited to their original environment. Could humanity's intelligence and longevity trace from deliberate DNA infusion by these celestial visitors millennia ago? The parallels between Mesopotamian lore and biblical accounts fuel ongoing debate. This perspective gained prominence in 1976 with Zecharia Sitchin's groundbreaking book, The 12th Planet, which reinterpreted Sumerian texts as records of extraterrestrial contact. The silent ledger of ancient tablets challenges us: myth, metaphor, or misplaced history? After decades of deciphering Sumerian cuneiform, researcher Zecharia Sitchin proposed a controversial theory in his book The 12th Planet and subsequent works. The Anunnaki were not mythical gods, but advanced extraterrestrials from a distant planet called Nibiru, orbiting our sun on a vast elliptical path. According to Sitchin's translations, these beings arrived on Earth approximately 450,000 years ago, drawn by a critical need to extract gold for repairing their planet's deteriorating atmosphere. Facing the grueling labor of mining, the Anunnaki reportedly engineered humanity as a workforce. Through genetic manipulation, they upgraded primitive hominids, infusing them with intelligence and strength to serve as slaves in the gold operations. Sitchin further claimed the Anunnaki intervened during the Great Flood, preserving select humans to ensure the survival of their creation. This narrative portrays Nibiru as an undiscovered member of our solar system, with the Anunnaki traveling via advanced craft or even hypothetical stargates. While mainstream scholars dismiss Sitchin's interpretations as speculative and linguistically flawed, supporters of ancient astronaut theories view them as groundbreaking evidence of global paleocontact. Strikingly similar accounts of sky-descending beings appear in cultures worldwide, suggesting a shared memory of extraterrestrial visitation rather than isolated mythology. Additional intrigue surrounds physical anomalies in ancient remains. In 1927, British archaeologist Leonard Woolley excavated the Royal Cemetery at in southern Iraq, uncovering the intact tomb of Queen Puabi, circa 2600 to 2500 BC, a high priestess from Sumer's early dynastic period. Her skull exhibited elongated proportions, features echoed in certain Egyptian pharaohs, such as Akhenaten, and Paracas elongated skulls from Peru. Paleocontact advocates interpret this cranial deformation, or natural trait, as potential evidence of hybrid lineage, descendants blending Anunnaki and human genetics, possibly conferring status or divine connection. Calls for modern DNA analysis persist, with proponents arguing such traits could reveal non-human influences from the era when Anunnaki influence was said to be strongest. Queen Puabi's unique burial, adorned with lavish gold and lapis lazuli, yet bearing these distinctive features, positions her as a potential key to unlocking the enigma. Proof of intermingling between an advanced celestial race and early humanity. The silent ledger of ancient evidence continues to challenge conventional history. Genetic hybrid or cultural elite? The debate endures. Muscular forms, eagle-headed features in some cases, and enigmatic wrist devices resembling modern technology. These consistent depictions, preserved on artifacts over millennia, suggest eyewitness observations rather than pure imagination. If anomalous elongated skulls discovered in Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Peru hint at a distinct lineage tied to the Anunnaki, then accounts of their descent from the heavens may hold literal truth. This pattern extends across ancient cultures worldwide. Biblical angels, the feathered serpent gods of Mesoamerica, such as Quetzalcoatl, or the star people revered in Native American traditions, like those of the Anasazi and Hopi. Myths of beings arriving from the stars represent one of the most pervasive themes in human folklore. A comparative study of these sky people narratives reveals striking parallels, suggesting a shared archetype rooted in actual events rather than independent invention. Could these recurring tales point to a common origin, advanced visitors seeding knowledge and lineage among early humans? Proponents of ancient contact theories argue that religious traditions describing divine intermingling with humanity preserve memories of such encounters. In the Bible's Book of Genesis, chapter 6, the sons of God, Bene Ha-Elohim, unite with human women, producing the Nephilim, often translated as giants or fallen ones, renowned for extraordinary stature and abilities. This motif closely aligns with Mesopotamian depictions of the Anunnaki as creators who engineered humanity for labor, yet some descended to interact more intimately, imparting forbidden wisdom. Greek mythology echoes this in Zeus fathering demigods like Hercules and Perseus with mortal women. The apocryphal Book of Enoch expands on the Watchers, angelic beings who descended, shared celestial knowledge, and produced hybrid offspring. Similar narratives abound globally. Hindu Vimana flying gods, Egyptian sky deities, Mayan star ancestors, and Roman tales of divine progeny. If these are not mere coincidence, they may document a singular phenomenon, an advanced race influencing human development across continents. Supporting evidence emerges from Mesopotamian art. Cylinder seals and wall reliefs portray the Anunnaki as towering, winged figures with humanoid forms. Sumerian iconography and cuneiform records abound with such imagery, challenging us to reconsider symbolic allegory or faithful renderings of encountered beings. The Sumerians meticulously documented their worldview, compelling us to re-examine ancient narratives through a fresh lens. Their records portray the Anunnaki as extraordinary entities with lifespans far exceeding those of ordinary humans, a trait that fuels speculation about their fate. Did they vanish entirely or linger in some form? If these beings were indeed visitors from another world, the scarcity of direct archaeological confirmation remains puzzling. Advocates of alternative interpretations point to global flood myths as potential evidence. In 1931, excavations at Shuruppak in southern Iraq uncovered sediment layers indicating a massive inundation around 2900 BC, aligning with timelines in the Sumerian king list, where Ziusudra reigns as the final pre-flood monarch. This discovery lends credence to a catastrophic deluge that reshaped the region, echoing the biblical Great Flood. Yet the Sumerian account predates the Hebrew version by centuries. Ziusudra, warned by the gods, constructs a vessel to preserve life, family, and animals. Parallels with Noah's Ark are unmistakable, raising the question, did biblical authors adapt an older Mesopotamian tradition to convey moral lessons? In the Judeo-Christian narrative, the flood serves as divine judgment on human wickedness. Sumerian texts, however, present a different motive. Enlil, a prominent Anunnaki leader and legitimate heir to Anu, supreme ruler, often linked to Nibiru in alternative theories, grew exasperated with humanity's clamor and decreed total annihilation. Enlil's half-brother, Enki, the elder son and more compassionate figure, akin to Prometheus in Greek lore, opposed the decision. Defying the council, Enki secretly advised Ziusudra to build a sturdy ship, ensuring survival of the human experiment. This internal conflict among the Anunnaki highlights factional divisions, Enlil viewing humans as burdensome creations, while Enki championed their preservation. As archaeology uncovers more layers of flood evidence across cultures, from Mesopotamian epics to Indus Valley and Mesoamerican traditions, these stories transcend local catastrophe. Skeptics attribute similarities to shared human experiences of river flooding in the Tigris-Euphrates basin. Yet proponents of extraterrestrial theories propose a bolder reading, the Ark as an advanced craft, perhaps enabling orbital escape, or the flood as a deliberate act by dissatisfied gods targeting their hybrid workforce. Worldwide deluge myths consistently feature divine discontent and selective salvation. Modern interpretations range from religious allegory to UFO-related events, but increasing alignments between ancient texts and geological findings suggest a kernel of historical truth, possibly rooted in otherworldly intervention. Sumerian epics frame the Great Flood not as a natural disaster, but as a deliberate act orchestrated by the Anunnaki Council. This cataclysm, born from divine frustration, nearly eradicated humanity, yet a faction within the Anunnaki ensured our survival, preserving their genetic experiment. Could the flood have served a dual purpose, cleansing the earth while erasing tangible traces of their prolonged presence? As we probe deeper into cosmic mysteries, answers may lie beyond our planet. On August 6, 2012, NASA's Curiosity rover touched down in Gale Crater on Mars, uncovering evidence of ancient lakes and rivers, indicating that Mars once hosted conditions remarkably similar to early Earth. What catastrophic event stripped away its atmosphere, rendering it barren? Zecharia Sitchin proposed that Mars functioned as a way station for the Anunnaki en route from Nibiru, their hypothetical homeworld on a vast elliptical orbit intersecting our solar system every 3,600 years, with a projected return around 2900 AD per his calculations. If valid, Martian surfaces might bear remnants of their civilization, pyramidal formations, monumental structures, or engineered artifacts mirroring Earth's ancient megaliths. Sitchin's framework positions Nibiru not merely as a planet, but as a bridge between dimensions, echoing the Egyptian Duat, a realm bridging the earthly and divine. He further suggested Nibiru's gravitational influence shaped our solar system, contributing to the asteroid belt's formation. Encounters with the Anunnaki, according to these interpretations, consistently catalyze human advancement, infusions of knowledge, technology, and evolutionary leaps. Their anticipated return could herald another transformative era, bestowing innovations while confronting our progress, perhaps with approval or admonition. Delving into these ancient texts reveals a profound repository of insight into our origins. Global myths of celestial visitors share a unifying thread, the solemn vow of return. Preparation demands an open paradigm, acknowledging we are not alone, recognizing past visitations, and embracing the possibility of engineered origins, a potential reconciliation between Darwinian evolution, scientific inquiry, and spiritual traditions. The looting of Iraq's museums in 2003 amid the chaos that claimed irreplaceable Sumerian artifacts invites speculation, coincidence of war, or deliberate suppression of evidence challenging conventional history. The silent ledger of the stars awaits our verdict. Mythological cycle or impending reality? The choice shapes our future.